right, everybody, and we're back for round 4 of Friday Night Magic, playing some Modern here at GameSwap and Mason. Brought to you by Top Deck Productions, streaming on Twitch TV. And I think we've got a good matchup here. Kevin here is on Infect, and Chris, no idea.
No idea.
No idea what he's on.
Unknown.
We're about to find out.
He's got black sleeves. They both got black sleeves.
They both got black sleeves, so maybe it's black-green Infect.
The rack. Maybe it's the rack.
Yeah. You never know, though. Counters Company, question mark? I haven't heard of Counters Company, question mark, but I know Counters Company.
Counters Company?
So this could be a strange matchup.
What? Hello?
Ignore
a matchup.
Yeah.
There we go.
You know, words are hard. Not everybody uses them all the time.
Well, his hand has Liliana the something in it, I think.
This could be a tough matchup for Chris.
I do not think this is Counters Company.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It looks like Abzan.
Maelstrom Pulse?
Maelstrom Pulse, Liliana is definitely Abzan.
Yeah, maybe just some good old Abzan.
So
Abzan midrange, all right.
This is going to be an exciting matchup. This is one of those matchups where Infect doesn't necessarily like to see it because this other deck has got all the low to the ground control cards.
Right.
You know, they've got Goyfs to block. They've got Hand Disruption to rip you apart. They've got the removal.
Efficient removal.
But Infect has all the tools to effectively
prevent
and efficiently work around it. Yeah.
Right. Unblockable creature.
Yeah.
Hexproof.
Yep. And I think the other day when we saw Kevin
main deck
Infect,
dispels.
Oh, main deck. Yeah, wow. But that's really bad against Abrupt Decay, though.
Sure.
But so Kevin the other night when we saw him playing against American Control, which is actually a pretty bad matchup, you know, for Kevin. American Control has all the tools to deal with Infect too. They've got Bolt, Snap, Bolt, Path, Helix, you know, Electrolyze, Ruined Halo, Attention Sphere. They've got everything. They got Supreme Verdict is bad news. They've got the Ghost Quarters. But Kevin had the absolute nuts.
Yeah, Kevin had the best hands.
Yeah, he actually won in
I've
2
ever
games
seen an Infect player have.
Yeah, Kevin, he just destroyed
He had exactly every card he needed.
Yes, he used every bit of mana, every card. He could not have had any more perfect sequence of draws or opening hands. He just stole 2 games, I think, from Billy Caminos.
Yeah. So we'll see Chris keep his mold to 6. Looks like Kevin's on the play. Here's a Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, not a bad way to start. Probably the best start for the deck, actually.
Yeah, I think that
your opponent sort of has to use removal on this Hierarch,
right?
Or you'll screw them with it. But it's much better to have them bolt your Hierarch than, say, bolt your Glistener Elf.
Sure.
So I think turn 1 Hierarch is about as good as it gets for this deck.
So Chris is going to lead off with the Inquisition. I see a Bladed Agent. So Kevin does have 2 creature threats, which is good for him.
Yeah, two creatures and a Pendlehaven. So he's got the perfect lands here, right? Breeding Pool Pendlehaven is pretty good. Mutagenic Growth, or sorry, Mightable Crosa is not great. He doesn't have protection except for the Dispel.
Yeah, past Dispel, right?
And the problem with Dispel is, like we talked about, doesn't deal with Abrupt Decay, but if he can counter a path here, he can do some serious work with this Exalted trigger on the Hierarch and the Mightable Crosa.
Dispel also very bad against Liliana, but just in general, I think Liliana might be really good here. Although the Noble Hierarch does give him a decent buffer. So we'll see what Chris decides to take. It is a tough choice.
Yeah. Mutagenic, or sorry, I keep saying Mutagenic. Mightable Crosa is, I think, one of the greedy cards in this deck, along with Mutagenic Growth. They give the deck the degenerate, kills.
Yeah.
But they are they're not good in fair games of Magic.
Right, and
they're good against Tron, right? You know, they help you kill your Tron opponent. That's already a good matchup.
Sure.
These cards are not good against the Abzan deck.
Any deck with interaction.
They can be good game 1 though.
Sure.
Game 1 they can still help you. They can help you cheese out the win, especially on the play.
So Chris decides to go with the Blighted Ancient here, and we'll likely see Glistener Elf come down. It looks like Kevin do a Vines off the top, which could be pretty good to surprise a removal spell. Yeah, we see Kevin play Glistener Elf. Might as well attack. Well, I don't know. I guess there's some value in not attacking with the Hierarch. Doesn't really do much for Kevin's game plan.
Yeah, you want to be able to leave the mana up.
Right.
Now it is true that a damage kill is always likely. Yeah, I mean it's always possible in these matchups, especially when your opponent starts to tank their life total. You know, their own life total because they start to not give a shit about their own life total.
Yeah.
But I've seen plenty of people kill each other.
Sneak through the damage kill with the Hierarch.
Yeah, and it's especially doable. It's especially doable to do the damage kill when you have Spellskite and Twisted Image. You can pump your Spellskite to like, you know, to like a
3/7 or something.
Yeah, right. And then you can Twisted Image it to make it a 7/3, etc.
Yeah, it gets in there.
It gets especially real to do a damage kill when you're playing Wild Defiance.
Yeah.
Wild Defiance plus Spellskite actually is the way that you can stack the Spellskite triggers and continually retarget it. Every time it's retargeted, it gets +3/+3. In fact, if you have 2 Spellskites and a Wild Defiance, it gets out of hand.
Right. So Kevin gonna activate Pendelhaven here to make the Glistener Elf into a 2/3 and just attack. He did that before combat, I believe, because he doesn't really want Chris to block, even though he would be able to remove the Scavenging Ooze. Kevin's just trying to get through as much Infect damage as he can, and he did draw 2 protection spells thus far. He drew Vines into Apostle's Blessing, so it might be pretty hard for Chris to remove this Glistener Elf.
So Scavenging Ooze is it's not great here because life gain isn't super relevant, but it is good at putting a fast clock on your opponent. It can grow.
Yeah.
But what's key about Scavenging Ooze in this matchup is killing your opponent's graveyard can actually be relevant against the Become Immense. If you make them actually pay, you know, 5 or 6 or 7 mana for a Become Immense, that card becomes very bad.
It becomes less than immense.
Yeah, less than immense. It becomes a drag to cast. Becomes a drag to cast. That's what they should call it. So I wonder what we'll see him take here. I would take the Vines of Astwood, right?
Right. I think you got to take one of the protection spells, or he's gonna have a really hard time dealing with.
I think you want the Vines. If you have, you know, the Dispel, I don't think you care about, especially when you have Abrupt Decay's alive out, so that kind of nullifies that as a choice. And especially, I think Chris also has a Maelstrom Pulse in hand, and of course Dispel does not hit Maelstrom Pulse.
Yeah, sorcery speed.
So I think Chris cares very little about this Dispel, and now that he has the information, he can play around it very well. But it also looks like he's got a handful of lands.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Does he
have 3 lands?
Another Ooze?
Oh yeah, that's bad. This might be one of those game ones where you came unprepared for Infect.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think you got to take the Vines.
Actually, you know, I think I take Apostle's Blessing here, because Apostle Blessings can give his creature pro-green and let it swing through. Right?
It is true, but again, so the Scooze is a 2/2 and can become a 3/3 right now. Well, Kevin has an Exalted Trigger and a Pendelhaven. So a Pendelhaven allows it to already kill the Ooze, right? Because it can become a 3/4.
So,
or sorry, a 2/3.
6, 7, 8. So if Chris doesn't take Apostle's Blessing here, he's actually just dead next turn. Oh, okay. Or he could take that. Sure, that works too. Because otherwise he could give the Glistener Elf pro-green, pump it with Pendelhaven, Might of Old Krosa, and the Exalted Trigger would give him 8 power. But the Might of Old Krosa being gone. 8. Because isn't Might of Old Krosa +4/+4?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But he has an Exalted Trigger, so isn't he dead to Vines of Astwood too with pro green?
But that costs an extra mana because you need to pay the kicker on Vines of Astwood.
Right, but he's got a hierarchy.
Yeah, so I guess he would be.
So I maybe I'm missing something. I think the Vines. I mean, both Vines and Might give +4/+4, and I don't think the mana is a problem for Kevin.
Sure.
Especially when he has the hierarchy, and I guess Chris did not. Well, but Chris did Kevin just top deck that land?
Yeah. So
I guess Chris didn't know he'd have another mana at his disposal.
Sure.
But I think taking the Vines is just, I mean, it's a better card.
So Kevin could have killed him there, right? He could have gave his creature protection from green and then played kicker with Vines.
So one damage, 2 damage, 3 with the Pendelhaven if you tap it. Tap the
+4/+4 is 7. Yeah.
Well, he could have done
Huh. All right. Just playing conservatively. Maybe playing around a Fatal Push, because if he would have to tap out for that, so he wouldn't be able to leave up Dispel.
You're right though, but yeah.
It's also, I mean, Kevin has been playing Infect for a while, so I'm sure he knows that he can, you know, make his creature essentially unblockable. But you know, sometimes you don't think about that line. You just think, okay, I need to protect my creature from a removal spell. Yeah,
this is an unfortunate series of creatures for Chris here. He's now tapped out, knowing that his opponent can give pro green.
Yeah.
If Chris had if Chris had like a Dark Confidant and a Scavenging Ooze,
right, 2 different colors, that would be very helpful. But yeah.
But the fact that both these creatures are green and that Chris tapped, so this is actually, assuming Kevin sees the line, this is game over.
This is again, yeah.
And I think it's kind of a misplay by Chris, One thing that's important to do against these Infect decks is constantly bluff removal.
Right.
You need, in fact,
right, because I mean it worked last turn.
Right. If he just played a Scavenging Ooze and left up black green, he is heavily. I mean that's Abrupt Decay.
Sure.
It literally is Abrupt Decay, and you will scare the shit out of Kevin, who's sitting on his Dispel.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big misplay by Chris. Obviously, Chris is dead. You know, Chris just has a bunch of crap in hand.
Right.
So Chris is gonna lose anyway, but he knew for a fact that his opponent has Apostle's Blessing and the damage to win this here already. Yeah. So I don't think he can afford to just play out 2 green creatures.
Sure. So now Kevin decides to take the line where he gives his creature protection from green, pumps it up, and swings for 7.
Yep. So again, it's tough to be Chris in this spot, but the correct play I think would always be to just play one of the creatures, hold up mana.
Yeah. Or take the Apostle's Blessing. I mean,
sure, yeah, because you've got a confluence of blockers.
I definitely think that would was the right take for.
Given that he had more creatures in hand, you know.
Yeah.
You know that you can block this Glistener.
Right. If he might have old Crosses in his main phase, you don't care. You can just block. Like.
Yeah. But yeah, so maybe not the best place for Chris, but it is tough to say.
Yeah.
Maybe, and it's possible Chris miscounted there.
True.
Thinking that he was.
Yeah, Chris may have miscounted. I mean, there was a lot of different triggers he had to take into consideration: the Pendelhaven, the Exalted from the Hierarch, and any number of pump spells.
Yeah. Well, what do you think Chris has to bring in? So Chris might have Curse of Death's Hold.
Yeah, Curse of Death's Hold. He could bring in Curse of Death's Hold if he's playing that. Although I think I may have saw Lingering Souls in his deck, and usually you don't play those two together, as you know, you don't want to kill all your own spirits.
No, that's what I'm saying. Knight of Souls Betrayal kills your own souls, but Curse of Death's Hold.
Oh, Curse of Death's Hold is a different.
Yeah,
the
Abzan one that's 5 mana.
Okay.
So it does not kill your Lingering Souls, but 5 mana is kind of a lot to pay in this match.
Right, against Infect.
Yeah, and the other problem is that 5 mana Curse of Death's Hold is very liable to be spell pierced.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that would be really bad.
But spell pierce isn't being played a ton in Infect right now. But we'll see. We'll see if Kevin has those.
On Kevin's end, he's probably going to bring in some spell skites if he doesn't have those main deck. They'll definitely help protect him against any of the spot removal Chris has. Apart from that, probably some spell pierce or other counter spells.
So my intuition is that Kevin does not want any of the counters.
Really?
Because
how does he beat Liliana the Veil? Played 2 creatures, I guess.
So Liliana the Veil is actually not great against Infect. It's great. It's good when you're on the play. It's really bad when you're on the draw. Obviously, Chris is on the play here.
Right.
But the fact that it only deals with 1 creature and forces you to tap out for 3 mana can be really bad some of the time. Shredding the hand is fine, but again, tapping out for 3 mana is
yeah, I guess it's really bad against Ink Moth.
Yeah, and it is bad against Ink Moth. What I will say about Kevin and the Dispel and Spell Pierce plan, you know for a fact your opponent has some number of uncounterable 2 mana permanent destruction. Right?
Sure.
And that's bad news bears. So I don't like Spell Pierce or Dispel. I think you have better cards to bring in here. I think you want the Spellskite because
definitely the Spellskite.
The Spellskite can redirect everything, except for Liliana's sacrifice.
But if you have a Spellskite, you can just sacrifice it, of course.
Sure. And I don't know. I think you might want something like I think a Simic Charm could be good.
Simic Charm, I can't imagine Infectless run that.
Simic Charm is actually it's 2 mana, +3/+3, return target permanent to its owner's hand, or target creature to its owner's hand. So you can save your own creatures with it.
Okay.
And then but also tempo out your opponent by unsummoning their creature.
Yeah.
But then you can also the third option is give permanents you control hexproof.
Huh.
And giving permanents you control hexproof is actually it's hard to find an instance where it's relevant. But it can be relevant.
It can protect your Ink Moth from Ghost Quarter.
Well, that's exactly. But that's not relevant if your opponent already has the Ghost Quarter in play, because they can just respond. But there are times when giving all permanents you control hexproof is not terrible.
So I see Chris did bring in an Engineered Explosives. That's also pretty good here.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not good against Ink Moth Nexus.
Or the Blighted Ancient Glistener Elf split.
Yeah, I wonder if Chris had Fulminator Mage to bring in. That could be okay. But you also have to tap out for it,
Sure.
so that's not great.
Because it blocks.
I think we see this this engineered explosives come down on 1.
On 1, yeah.
But it could be that Chris also knows he might have trouble dealing with the
blighted agent.
Yeah. So seeing it on 2 could be fine as well. Now I think that was a Dromoka's command.
Yeah, it looks like you brought in Dromoka's command.
Dromoka's command, I've actually played Dromoka's command against Infect before. It's really good if you can do something like make them sack a Wild Defiance. But if your opponent doesn't have Wild Defiance and you're not able to get use out of the Sacrifice Enchantment, you're only using it
to fight.
Yeah, to fight. And fighting Infect creatures is really bad.
Yeah.
But also, Dromoka's command is really bad against Spellskite. Because it screws up the +1/+1 counter because they can take the counter. And it screws up the way that fight works.
Sure.
So Dromoka's command, I've played it against Infect because I play a Bolt deck, and they actually might have Wild Defiance. But there's almost no way Kevin would want Wild Defiance in this match.
Right.
It's only really good against Bolt decks. And so I think that Dromoka's command is kind of a trap here.
So Chris is just going to play his land and pass, probably trying to set up a surprise with his engineered explosives to get more than just a Noble Hierarch. If Kevin wants, he can play his Blighted Agent here. Looks like that's what he's going to do. Oh no, a Rest in Peace. Okay.
That seems
so
fine, I
yeah.
guess.
So Kevin saw Grimflayer game 1, so he can turn off Delirium like that.
And he must assume his opponent has Lingering Souls and Tarmogoyf. But I don't know. I mean, so for one, I guess Kevin's not playing any Become Immense.
Yeah, probably not.
Wouldn't want Become
Or
Immense,
he took them out.
Or he took them out. But I am just not a big fan of this this Rest in Peace here. This is maybe I'll be proven wrong here, but this is the second time tonight I think we've seen a pretty suboptimal sideboard.
I think it's better here than it was in the Snapcaster matchup.
But can this Infect deck really afford to be down a card there?
Yeah.
I mean, his opponent. I mean, his Grimflayers are still going to be.
Yeah, there's an interesting dichotomy between whether you want to stop what your opponent is doing or just further your own game plan. Kevin must have felt like there's enough removal he's facing against here that he also needs to spend some time stopping what Chris is doing.
Yeah, I think the best way to fight against the removal is to not be down a card by playing a Rest in Peace.
Sure. Oof. Looks like Chris drew a Gideon Ally was end a card. That might be the second time we see one of them tonight. Powerhouse in Standard and playable in Modern. A lot of Chris's cards look very golden from the reflection on his shirt.
So the Liliana on an empty board here is disgustingly good.
Yeah,
that is really good.
That's exactly what Chris wants.
And this is one of the reasons that the Liliana is definitely good on the play in this matchup. It's a little bit worse. It's really not good on the draw. But on the play, this is going to be brutal. I mean, this is absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I can't see Kevin coming back from this easily.
No, he doesn't.
Even if he resolves even 2 creatures here, Chris is going to make him sack on 1, and then the Liliana will still have 2 loyalty.
Yeah.
And so Chris will be forced.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard for him to deal with.
Swing at the Lily, or otherwise have the Liliana sacrifice the second creature the next turn. What Kevin needs is a Blink Moth Nixus to get him out of this one.
Yeah.
And
but it looks like he just has a bunch of lands and
paths or something.
Has a bunch of lands and creatures in hand. Actually, I think Kevin has a path in hand as well.
Yeah, Kevin does have. Kevin has a. I saw a path in his deck. Another one in his deck.
Yeah. Can he only cast that off Noble Hierarch?
I guess. I mean, it looks like he's got breeding. If he had white mana.
You think he would have gotten it there?
Yeah, because his Hierarch is dead.
Oh, he has a Temple Guard
in hand. Okay.
Yeah. That might be unfortunate for him.
I'm going to be real honest. So this is the best case scenario for Kevin, is that he has 2 creatures to play. But even so, he's going to make his opponent sack one of them. He's probably going to sack the Glistener Elf. But then Kevin is forced to swing at the Liliana or kill his opponent, because or else the Liliana will make him sack the Blighted Agent.
Yeah.
So this is a good Liliana.
It's a good Liliana, and it's going to be an even better Gideon. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even think Kevin can beat that.
I don't know if you play the Gideon, because if you play out the Gideon, so if he taps out for 4 here and Kevin makes his opponent sack with the Liliana, he'll sack the Glistener Elf.
Right.
Then Gris is tapped out and could potentially just die to
from 10. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
So maybe
Kevin's hand. Yeah. If Kevin has,
I guess that's true.
Kevin has a draw step. If Kevin draws, Might of Old Krosa, and he has another Might of Old Krosa, and then he, does anything else,
Yeah, that's true. Playing it slow here with the explosives, is definitely better.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to run that Gideon out. But yeah, and now Kevin is forced to swing at this Liliana. I wonder if Chris pops the Engineered to protect the Liliana because he knows the Liliana will win him the game.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we know Kevin's hand is not very good. It's 'cause he just drew a twisted image or distorted image or whatever.
I think more importantly, we also know that Rest in Peace is not good.
Yes, that is true.
Just saying.
Yes, we have learned yet again that Rest in Peace is not good.
I mean, it's a great card, but
in this matchup,
you have to be playing it
against Dredge. Is that about the only spot you like it?
No, there are other places that are good for it. You know, it's good against Grixis decks that have Tasker, Kolagans, Gurmag Angler, and Snapcaster. It's good against that Gifts Ungiven deck we saw earlier.
So that's interesting. Yeah, the Explosives actually kills the Rest in Peace as well.
Oh yeah.
It's even worse.
Yeah, it's even worse. Oh man. Yeah.
Well. So now you slam Gideon.
Yeah, on the empty board you slam Gideon because Kevin has no threats with haste.
He's got the one card in hand.
Ooh, the Distortion Strike.
Oh, that's not Twisted Image. Similar. Does that make a creature unblockable?
No, Distortion. Yeah, it's +1. It gives a creature +1/0 and unblockable, and then it has Rebound.
Okay.
So Kevin's going to be able to cast another copy at his upkeep, but it won't matter because he won't have a creature with
Well,
haste.
Kevin didn't cast that. He discarded it to
I
Liliana.
see.
We're getting the lesser-known Knight Companion, the Wolf.
Judge? That's actually a little bit relevant if, naming green versus white with your Apostle's
maybe
Blessing.
hopefully Kevin doesn't get confused.
Yeah.
Although I don't think we're going to be seeing any Apostle's Blessings from Kevin.
This game is pretty over.
So one of the downfalls of this Gideon in Modern, of course, is that if he pluses it, it is going to get pathed here from Kevin.
Yeah. Getting the Gideon path is not great. Though I will say, the emblem's not terrible here. For a few reasons, puts a clock on his opponent.
Yeah.
And given that he knows his opponent's playing white, you don't necessarily want to path. So I like making a few more knights and then using the emblem.
So here we see a Tarmogoyf from Chris.
Because you do have to ultimately kill your opponent, and you can always lose to some good draws from Kevin here, like an Inkmoth Nexus into multiple protection spells. Yeah.
But the double Planeswalkers, plenty of creatures. Chris is able to take that game down. So that went a lot better for him.
You know what Kevin should have done is he should have Manamorphosed into Pyretic Ritualed for Hour of Devastation.
Hour of Devastation.
Would have cleared the whole board there.
Yeah. So we talked about this earlier if you weren't tuned in, but the new card from Hour of Devastation entitled Hour of Devastation is a potential pretty powerful board wipe, even playable in Modern in certain sideboards. So we're looking forward to that one. So game 3 here, Kevin's going to be on the play again. Obviously pretty advantageous to him because we saw how much Chris was able to make use of being on the play there with a Liliana into an empty board. Yeah,
the Liliana is going to be much worse on the draw here. I wonder, if Chris has 3 or 4 Lilianas, I wonder if we see
Take
one or 2 come out.
Yeah.
But Liliana the Last Hope could or should be a big one.
Very good against Infect.
If he has
yeah,
it.
you're right.
But
the +1 takes off almost all the creatures.
I wonder if Kevin's going to throw that Rest in Peace out.
Yeah. It did not look very good there.
But I also don't understand the path.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, actually, because you think if he brings in Rest in Peace, okay, he's dealing with the power of Tarmogoyf and Grimflayer, but if he has Path 2, he can just take care of it.
Yeah, I just don't see why you care too much about your opponent's win condition here.
Maybe on the play here, he takes him out.
Yeah.
Keeps the aggression going.
We haven't seen any. Have we seen a Fatal Push from Chris?
Yeah, he Fatal Push Noble Hierarch there so that the board was empty when he cast Liliana.
That's right. Yeah, sometimes pathing your opponent's Infect creatures can be dangerous because that mana ramp really does let the degeneracy flow. They can do some sick stuff if you put them on 3 lands on turn 2, etc.
Sure. We have yet to see an Inkmoth out of Kevin's deck.
Yeah. This is one of the matchups where it's not totally incorrect to path a Hierarch though, because sometimes that Exalted trigger will
that's true.
Will kick the crap out of you, and if you have redundant paths in hand, you kind of want to get.
It's a lot more than just a mana dork in this case.
Yeah, but it's tough to say though because you if you have multiple paths, you could or should just wait on their other Infect creature. But if you let them build up cards in hand with a Noble Hierarch active, they can just kill you with it.
So does Kevin have an Overgrown 2 in hand?
I am really confused by this Infect list.
Is he playing 5-color Infect?
No, it's a verticate. It's just a green. It's just a green.
Just a fetch. Okay.
Yeah.
Sand has a lot of blue spells.
I've actually run a banned Infect deck before myself, but I was using it for pretty different reasons than Kevin is. I was playing Scout's Warning, if anyone knows the card.
Definitely not.
Scout's Warning is a 1-mana instant that allows you to play the next creature card you have at instant speed. You flash it in.
So a quicken for creatures.
Yeah, but
does it draw you a card?
No, it does draw you a card.
It does.
Scout's Warning does draw you a card. And I was playing that. I had Apostle's Blessing, so I could cast that without paying life.
Sure.
But then I think I also had something else, maybe like, I don't know, something bad like Selesnya Charm. I can't remember, but
it sounds like it would be something bad.
Yeah, but I had a Bant Infect deck for a while. It was fun.
So Chris is taking another mulligan to 6 here, which he did the first game when he was on the draw. Not great.
Oh, I had the 3-mana. I had Priest of Norn.
I do not know what that is.
It's a 3-mana 1/4 Infect with Vigilance.
Okay.
And it is dope. It's actually, I mean, a 3-mana 1/4 Vigilance is not a terrible creature, and when it has Infect, you can actually kill a lot of your opponent's shit with it.
Sure.
And then when you're flashing it in with Scout's Warning, it was
living the dream.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oof. All right, Chris's hand looks all right. I think he's got 2 lands. Yeah. Kevin has a lot of blue cards in it. He's Blighted Agent. He's got
Spell Pierce.
maybe 2 spells. I think that was a Serum Visions.
Yeah, I think I saw Serum Visions too.
Huh.
Serum Visions is not a bad replacement for Gitaxian Probe.
Right.
But I really don't like the Spell Pierce staying in.
He's got 2 in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
it's very good against Liliana on the play like this.
Sure, yeah. Countering the Liliana is nice. But you know, any protection spell is going to be better than Spell Pierce.
Generally,
when some number of your opponent's removal spells are uncounterable.
Right.
So you know, the Spell Pierce is going to be fine here against the path we see in Chris's hand, but so would a protection spell. You know.
Right. So we'll see Kevin lead off on the Serum Visions here. A little bit slow for his deck. I mean, he usually wants a turn 1 Hierarch, but this is pretty good.
You can always try to sculpt your hand, and sometimes you can even play the value game.
Yeah.
You know, if you can sort of craft a turn 1 win, you know, off of
for the long future.
But that plan's more viable if you have Wild Defiance and if your opponent doesn't have Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah.
But Liliana of the Veil is going to win the sort of the long-term hand sculpting value game.
So Kevin keeps both on top, but I did see a Misty in hand, so it's likely he just is going to shuffle away anyway. We'll see Marsh Flats from Chris, and a pass the turn. So no discard, unfortunately. He does have an ample number of creatures and a path in hand. Spell Pierce not going to look very good against any of these creatures.
No.
So here's a Glistener Elf. So we'll see if Chris fires off this path here. We know it's going to get Spell Pierced. Chris does not.
We don't know that it's going to get Spell Pierced. Kevin could just take the mana ramp and then rely.
I suppose, but I don't think he has another creature in hand.
I thought he had a Blighted Agent.
Oh, maybe. If that's the case, then yeah, maybe he just lets it go.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he does have a Blighted Agent.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, I think if Chris goes for the path, you just let him do it. Get your land.
Sure.
And then go all in on the Blighted Agent. Protect that thing, because it's going to be more valuable to you in the long run anyway.
Yeah. Plus, Chris knows that Kevin's Grady to the top, so he gets to shuffle away whatever that is. Yep. Yeah, he's just going to let it happen. All right. So down goes Glistener Elf, but it might not be out of the woods yet for Chris. So we'll probably see Grimflare or Tarmogoyf here. He's got 2 Grimflares and a Tarmogoyf in hand. Ample number of creatures. A lot of passing of shuffling after the path and after this fetch land. So Chris is going to get an Overgrown Tomb because, of course, he doesn't need to care about his life total at all, but also he needs a green source. And he doesn't have Delirium yet, so all right, he goes with Grimflare anyway to try to probably.
Well, he may never get Delirium if Kevin brings in this Rest in Peace.
That's true. That is true, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it's probably correct to play Grim Flare first. That way, if he's able to attack next turn, he gets a trigger. Oh, but Kevin did draw into a path. Huh.
Yeah, I don't.
You really don't like path in the
Infect?
Infect?
I didn't like. Well, I thought it was fine on the draw, on the play here though. Man, do you really want that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he'd much rather have a pump spell here to get, especially if this Blighted Agent survives. Oof. This could be rough for Chris. This looks like a prime opportunity for Liliana the Veil. Oh, actually, I don't even think he has a third land.
He's gonna get spell.
Well, he would get spell pierced, but I don't even think he has a third land to begin with. So
that might be.
Maybe we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, get in there. I like it. It's got trample.
Yeah, hopefully put a land on top here.
Right.
And put Lingering Souls in the yard. I think that's where you want to be.
And hopefully he doesn't die on the return.
If he puts Lingering Souls in the that's not good. Maelstrom Pulse is bad here because it's too much mana and sorcery speed.
I think I would mill that.
And then a Stirring Wildwood?
Unfortunately he's not able to turn on Delirium since he hit 2 lands. Even if he puts the sorcery in there, that'll only give him 3 card types. I think I get rid of Maelstrom Pulse though, and the Stirring Wildwood for that matter. His third land looks like it's able to come in untapped. Chris did draw a Fatal Push, so that's gives him some protection, but the amount of counters in Kevin's hand, it could not resolve.
So I think given that Chris had a hand full of creatures, you don't want to path the Glistener Elf.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, because you can block.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he just wanted to be mana efficient. I mean, he has had to use, or for his foreseeable future, he would have had to use 2 mana each turn, but now of course he's not.
Yeah, I think we see this Hierarch come down. Yep.
Yeah. So this is interesting. All right. He's gonna attack for 2. Okay, Chris is just gonna take it, not opt for the path or the Fatal Push. I mean, I think you gotta go for it here though, just to use your mana.
No, you have to wait. You have to wait on the Fatal Push. You have to wait. You have to wait until your opponent does something, or else you wait till after damage.
Well, that's what I meant. I just meant this turn to make use of his mana.
Sure,
that gets spell pierced.
Yeah, but you definitely don't want to do it before damage.
This is gonna be brutal for Chris though.
Blow you out.
He put the land on top. Oh, I guess.
No, he got a land. He can.
No, I know, but Liliana the Veil doesn't even look as good on this board.
Oh wait, does Kevin have a second spell pierce?
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Oh, I didn't know Kevin had a second.
Yeah, the second spell pierce is gonna get him.
Well, geez, maybe I was all wrong about the spell pierce. I guess Chris really does need the Abrupt Decay. Has Chris seen an Abrupt Decay all in any time so far?
I don't think so.
I assume he has it. I hope he has it, but.
So, Chris is putting a decent amount of pressure here. He's taking for 4 each turn, and Kevin doesn't actually really have many pump spells in hand. He's got the Distortion Strike, which gives the creature +1, right?
Yeah, plus 1/0.
Other than that, he does not have any pump spells currently. Of course, one Might of Old Krosa could turn that around real quick.
Yeah, that is true. That Kevin's hand that's heavy on reactive plays does not have a lot of damage in it.
Dumps them all. So that does put a creature in Chris's graveyard, turning Delirium on for him.
Do we think we see the Lily come down, or is he going to respect the double
I don't know. I don't think we see Lilia here because
I think you just have to. If you're Chris, you have to just continue bluffing removal.
Yeah,
You can't afford to run yourself into double spell pierce.
Right.
But double spell pierce also seems unlikely, right? I mean.
I think I would play another Grim Flayer here if I'm Chris, or a Tarmogoyf.
Hold up 1 mana.
Hold up 1 mana, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Because Lily really doesn't look good on this board anymore now that Noble Hierarch is here.
Yeah.
Sacrifice not being too relevant.
Yeah, like we said at the outset, the Lily on the draw here, much worse than Lily on the play.
Yeah.
And I so far I guess I'm wrong that these spell pierces seem to be good, but Chris needs an Abrupt Decay. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, he's not found them. He's dumped a lot of cards.
It's shocking to me we haven't seen one at all in this entire match.
So we'll see what threat Chris decides to go with. Is the second Grim Flayer, sure. Chris has drawn quite the hand of creatures here. Double Grim Flayer, and now he also still has double Tarmogoyf in hand.
Yeah, which again is why you aren't super keen on needing to path the Glistener Elf. The only way you get blown out by not pathing the Glistener Elf there is if you slam a Grim Flayer as a blocker, and then your opponent has the absolute nuts.
And just kills you through it somehow, yeah.
Right, but I don't think that. Yeah, I don't know about pathing the Glistener Elf.
So Chris is going to be taking 4 Infect here, putting him to 6, which means he would be dead next turn to this rebound if he doesn't find an answer. And that answer has to be 1 mana because otherwise it's going to get spell pierced. So Distortion Strike gives the guy +1/+0. He responded to that with Pendelhaven, giving him +1/+2. And then the Exalted Trigger is going to give it another +1 for a total of 4 power here.
Wait, so it's 5, right?
No, 4. +3 total. Exalted, Pendelhaven,
yeah, you're right.
Distortion Strike.
Yeah. I don't know why. I was thinking Bloody Agent was a 2/2.
No, that would be...
that would be dope. Yeah. a bear, an unblockable bear with Infect.
With Infect? Yeah, they weren't that crazy. So Chris is really making it seem like he's got something. He's keeping the bluff alive, which is good, which is what you have to do.
The thing is, the bluff plan is not very good against Noble Hierarch Pendelhaven.
Yeah.
Because they get free damage that they don't have to waste cards on.
Sure.
So they're happy to just continue activating Pendelhaven and Exalted, and they can get damage through.
So Chris has to find a 1-mana removal spell here.
Or an Abrupt Decay.
Yes, or an Abrupt. Well, there it is, right on the bottom of his library.
All right, well, Chris, all you got to do is just do a little bit of cheating.
Yeah.
You know where it is.
Just sneak that one right on top.
Do the old Dutch shuffle.
The Dutch shuffle, is that what
I think that's what they call it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do the old French drop. You know.
You're just making things up at this point.
No. A French drop is a real magic trick. That's the one where you have the coin, and you go like this. You know. Like you take the coin. You like move your hand.
Oh yeah, okay. You make the coin disappear.
Yeah, that's a French drop.
Okay, I was not aware.
But
you French drop the Abrupt Decay on top of your deck.
Well, no, like I said, you want to do the German or the Dutch shuffle.
Oh, okay.
That's where you
okay.
You want to be at the Dutch shuffle right here.
What was the draw?
A fatal push.
All right,
hey, big news.
So he's got he has to use it now, which I hope he sees that. I mean, he doesn't have to use it now, but there's no point in letting.
You swing with your Grim Flayers.
Right.
See what you can mill. If you can mill, I think what you do is. Well, no, that wouldn't help you.
I see. I think you have to use on your turn because you don't want Kevin to draw another card.
Yeah.
You have to just hope that because if this doesn't resolve, you're losing anyway. So giving him another chance to draw something is really not where you want to be. Ooh. So looks like Kevin's thinking about a path here.
I think maybe the best way to do this, if you're Kevin or if you're Chris, is to pass turn and see if your opponent cracks a fetch.
Yeah, and then on upkeep.
And then
if he does.
Well, no, just in response to the.
In response to that, and if he doesn't.
In response to the fetch, you can deny your opponent mana, one more mana of protection by fatal pushing. But it's doubtful that Kevin would fetch. I think Kevin would have to be pretty naive to actually crack that fetch land at the end of his turn just to save himself life. But his life total is being pressured here by these young players. Well, one of them now, but.
So Chris gets a forest.
So yeah, I say if you're Chris, you pass turn.
Upkeep.
If he fetches, do it in response to the fetch.
Yeah.
If he doesn't fetch, you do it at his upkeep. Now he has more mana at his upkeep.
So Chris hits double Abrupt Decay with the Grimflayer scries, so to speak.
Oh baby. Whew. We've missed those guys all match. Now they come out in droves.
Yeah, mills the land, keeps 2 of them on top.
That seems good.
Now let's see what he does with this fatal push. The game is teetering on this point.
Yeah, this could, if Chris does something, poorly thought out, like play a Goyf.
Yeah.
But it's hard to navigate.
It's hard. Yeah,
it's
right.
Only
You've already seen one spell.
It's only obvious to us because we know about.
Yeah, we know
the second
about
spell
that.
pierce.
He's looking at that Goyf.
I'll be honest. If I were playing against Infect, I would never play around a double spell pierce because they probably only have like 2 in the 2 or 3 in the 75. Would I play around double spell pierce? I don't know. I really don't think so. So let's see what Chris does. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm worried.
He successfully
I'm nervous.
performed the French
I'm nervous.
That's put that fatal push right on top.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, it wasn't the French drop. It was the
Dutch shuffle.
Yeah, the Dutch shuffle.
Okay. Oof. This is a tense game. He's really thinking about that Tarmogoyf. If he's got 2, might as well get one out now.
Gosh, I am so nervous.
Yeah. We can feel the tenseness of Chris's.
This is a game, folks. How many cards does Kevin have in hand? 2?
2. No, 3. I think he's got Visions.
Visions, spell.
Oh, maybe only 2. Yeah, maybe Vision, Spell Pierce.
Yeah, jeez.
Oh, he passes. All right.
Is he gonna fetch? He doesn't fetch. You have to do it now. You have to do it now. You have to do it now. No.
Well, he just has to do it before the draw step.
Yeah, you got to do it before he draws. But it looks like he's. Oh, please don't let him draw. Please don't let him draw. No.
Oh, what did he draw?
He had any. Kevin has so many. Oh, he drew a Glistener Elf.
Okay. All right. Well,
moment of truth here.
Yep. Move to damage. Fatal Push. Spell Pierce not going to do it.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's right to let your opponent draw the card.
Yeah, drawing the card was not needed.
No.
Maybe Chris is playing for the glory, keeping the suspense high to the last possible moment.
Oh man, I am nervous.
Yeah, I think on Kevin's end, I would have Serum Visions before attacks.
Because you got all this extra mana.
Well, yeah, and you might see something you might draw something relevant.
Is that a Rancor?
Yeah.
So Rancor is usually an indication that you have no Wild Defiance in the 75 because they don't synergize well.
Wow. So Chris was able to remove the Glistener Elf. I think he might turn the corner now with his double Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, double Abrupt Decay is.
Of course, it still gets blanked by protection spells, but
yeah,
no longer is the Spell Pierce going to be relevant. Well, unless of course Chris plays some other non-creature spell.
I wonder if we see this Noble Hierarch go to town on some face damage.
Yeah.
But this Grimflayer is quickly going to kill Kevin.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
But it's too bad Kevin doesn't have that rest in peace. So he could. Oh, man.
So he could power down this Grimflayer in this upcoming Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, the thing about rest in peace against Grimflayer is it's still a 2/2.
Yeah.
And then
it still lets you.
And then Kevin would have even fewer cards in hand.
Yeah. Whew. What a game this has been.
I think you just swing with the Grimflayer here.
Yeah, and or play your Tarmogoyf and then swing.
No, leave up double Abrupt. Oh, he
only has one.
He has one in hand right now. Okay.
And in fact, I mean, you utilize the Grimflayer trigger, but you know you're going to want to keep your next Abrupt Decay.
Well, you got to swing with the Grimflayer first. I mean, get full information here.
Sure.
You can't block with it anyway, unless you're trying to block the Hierarch.
Huh. All right, just go for the Abrupt Decay, sure.
So I guess he doesn't want his Grimflayer to die to a pumped.
Yeah,
Glistener
I guess
Elf.
that's the plan.
I suppose that's fine, but if your opponent tries to pump it there to kill the Grimflayer, you just Abrupt Decay it.
Yeah. Now Kevin's cracking the fetch. He's been sitting on that one all game.
Do you think he's gonna pump the Hierarch to block the Flayer?
I don't think you can. It doesn't have to be a 1/1, or is it? I think it's target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2.
Well, I mean with a spell in his hand, but he only has a Glistener Elf, right? So never. Yeah.
No, he played Glistener Elf. I think the last spell in his hand is the Spell Pierce.
All right.
So he takes the hit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chris has.
I think he turned the corner.
Yeah,
yeah. With that suspenseful Fatal Push.
With that suspenseful French drop.
And the Dutch Shovel.
The Dutch Shovel.
Yeah, and here he's deploying his Tarmogoyf. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Kevin can do to stay in this.
I think, I mean, Kevin has some draws that are good here, like I can't even say, like Manamorphose into Skithyryx, the Blight Dragon. Could be pretty good.
Skithyryx, the Blight Dragon. That doesn't even have haste. I don't know. Yeah.
No, yeah, you can pay. No, you can pay a black mana to give it haste. Mana. So you would, I think. Well, if Kevin just went Manamorphose into Dark Ritual.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Dark Ritual. He's just playing Legacy.
He could play a Skithyryx and give it haste.
Right.
Skittles.
So he drew a blocker, so he's not just dead.
No, and of course he could always still draw the Rest in Peace.
I don't know if the Rest in Peace is where he needs to be.
I don't know, man. That card.
That would be a spiteful draw. The Rest in Peace off the top after getting beaten down by these giant creatures. And yeah, Chris Drew's second to Well, I guess he is dead to the second. Well, no, he can block.
Well, I wonder if Kevin's brought in Wrath of God to supplement these paths. These Rest in Peace.
Well, he would not be able to cast Wrath of God, so hopefully not.
No, he's got what? Oh, never mind.
Well, I guess no, because I mean, if the Hierarch somehow survives.
Well, back to what I was saying about Manamorphose.
right. That's his out. That's the line. Yes, it turns out Infect is still not great in the Fatal Push method, although Kevin has been having quite a bit of success. We've seen him at the top table here for a few weeks now, even with a Fatal Push heavy meta.
Now, being totally serious, I do think that Infect is still good in the Fatal Push meta. I think people are just attached to bad cards like and I'm getting on a soapbox here, but I think people are attached to some of the bad cards, like Mutagenic Growth and Might of Old Krosa, which are frankly just greedy.
Yeah, they're just too much. You need to protect your guys.
Yeah,
and you'll win eventually.
And you know what can't be killed by Fatal Push is
Skithiryx the Blight Dragon.
Skithiryx the Blight Dragon. That's right.
Maybe that's the new. Ooh, another Dispel. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris managed to turn the corner there.
Yeah, he played that very well.
Yeah. Well, I still
other than the draw step. Yeah. The draw step was a bit much.
I would have preferred for Chris to not let Kevin draw a card when all he has is one Fatal Push. But yeah, that was an intense match.
Yeah. Wow. So Abzan midrange, standing its ground.
Yeah, that was something. All right.
Against the Phyrexian Horde.
Well, we'll be back for round 5 here shortly. So don't go away. We'll bring you a final exciting match of the night.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention again.
The subscription feature.
Yeah.
That we now have access to.
Yeah. Top Deck Productions has received status as an affiliate with Twitch TV, so you can now subscribe at your leisure. And then also we've got a Patreon. I think we'll get a link
Patreon
there in the chat.
as well.
Patreon's a good way to help support the stream. Keep our services entertaining you on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and sometimes Thursdays.
Sometimes Thursdays. Yeah, this week we had a Thursday.
We're trying to bring out a lot of new content and improve the quality of the stream every day. So that Patreon donation goes a long way. You can get involved with a one-time donation or a sustaining membership, however you want to do it. But I mean it when I say, everything counts for the stream.
Yep.
Even just $10 for good luck. But anyway, so we'll be back in a bit here. Don't go away.
Yeah, I don't understand why you don't just play your land there.